Okay, off you go. We're live.
Welcome, Monday, March 14th, 2016. This is the debut podcast of himself and the Ninja. Myself, Stephen Lowry, aka the BJJ Lebowski, and Colin Bourne, aka the Serpico Ninja. So just to give you a little background, this was formerly the Setanta MMA show, which myself and Gus Ryan had going for a while. And I think with the little hiatus, people have been asking myself to get a podcast going, and Colin's been sort of wanting to get one going, so we decided, let's get one up and running. We won't cover everything MMA. The direction we're looking to take it is we'll cover the big MMA events, but we just want to get cool people on that have a cool story and share it out there with everybody. So, for the first time, give it up for the Serpico Ninja in the house, Colin Bourne. What's happening, bro?
All good. So, yeah, the background is I was on the Setanta MMA podcast and then hadn't been around for a while. I kind of missed it, so I got on to Lebowski and I said, look, let's do this. And Gus gave us his blessing. He's going to pop in every now and then. And we were discussing about, instead of just doing MMA all the time, have some interesting people on. And that's why I suggested Evan Scully. So he's an interesting cat. Popped down to see me. When was it, Evan?
Oh, it could have been, was it 2014?
Through a mutual friend.
Yeah.
Concepta Corbett.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I was wondering where I was going to fit into this podcast, seeing as that I don't really have any BJJ background. I think that's the lingo that you use, is it?
Well, neither does Lebowski, but you know.
Or jits, I've heard a few people call it.
Jits.
But what I found was interesting about you was what you did. So, do you want to give us a little bit of a brief?
Yeah, so I went to college, studied sports therapy, then went straight into studying Chinese medicine and acupuncture, which probably got the two of us linked together, seeing as Concepta is she was a lecturer and she's a relation to me as well. So I was on holidays out near maybe between Lagos and Albufeira maybe. So just decided to drive down to check out the gym, Shinobi Gym. So yeah, I've been qualified maybe 4 or 5 years at this stage.
In the Chinese medicine or the sport therapy?
Overall, I finished college. So that, yeah, everything 4 or 5 years ago.
How did you find getting your head around Chinese medicine? Because most people don't know. Well, most people know what acupuncture is, but it's just one tool in the armory of traditional Chinese medicine, right?
Yeah. I'd like to think I have a pretty open mind to things all things strange, and acupuncture in terms of treating people is fairly out there. Like to stick pins in people to fix them makes no sense at all until you delve into it. But if you were to just go up to someone and say, I can stick pins in you and you can fix this, that makes no sense at all to them. So I started studying after I got I have cystic fibrosis, so I've had sinus problems all my life. Had sinus problems, insomnia, sweating for no reason, vertigo, things like that. And the only thing that fixed it was acupuncture, and said, right, well, I have to study this if it's worked on me.
And cystic fibrosis, just to give people a background on it that don't know what it actually is, what is it, or do you have it from birth, or do you catch it during life, or what way does it work?
Yeah, it's not a virus or anything like that, but so basically, it's a genetic disease that primarily affects the pancreas, but most people would distinguish it by affecting the lungs. So basically, it's you create too much mucus, and the mucus gets housed in the lungs, and if you don't clear it, bacteria will grow, and bad things follow.
What was the general treatment that you got before that? before Chinese medicine? Actually, just what was the? Is it just medicated, or is there other treatments?
Yeah, it was basically just medication. I got told if I had a choice between eating a Mars bar and an orange, to eat the Mars bar. And my question to that was, why would I eat a Mars bar instead of an orange? And they said you have to eat for when you get sick. And my reply was, would I not eat to prevent getting sick? So I'd always look at things to say, well, why am I doing this? Why am I doing it this way? Why am I doing it that way? So yeah, it was basically, take this medication, you're gonna get sick anyway, there's nothing we can do about it. And my parents would have looked at it completely different. Like, well, if you clear the mucus, no bacteria can grow there. So get out and run, get out and move, get out and do whatever you have to do to clear the mucus.
So you got into sports then?
Yeah, I was trying to think about, have I any experience in the kind of MMA world, and I remember going to taekwondo a few times, and I thought, I'd say I was about 7 or 8, I wanted to just punch through like tiles and pieces of wood, but I found out that that's not the reality.
Right.
So yeah, I went through
Colin
loads
does
of
that.
different.
Colin still punches toilets.
I did.
Colin still punches toilets. A piece of
All
wood,
day.
But it's not a martial arts thing. It was just an aggression thing.
Yeah. I got a job as a toiler. I'm a short temper, you know. So.
Chancing your arm at anything out in Portugal.
You gotta do it.
So
Yeah.
So Evan, as a child, what was this basically the routine was? You just had to keep fit, keep healthy, jog, keep them lungs clear, or how did this come about that this was the lifestyle that you had to sort of follow? Was it the parents, or was it the doctors, or where did it come from?
Not really the doctors. It was more my parents that were. It's common sense. It's nothing scientific about it. It's just if you get out and move, if you get out and run, it's going to clear the mucus. And yeah, the doctors would have always told me that I wasn't doing enough. I wasn't doing enough for my lungs. But I was running up to 120 miles a week, and it was like, how can 120 miles a week not be enough to clear mucus out of your lungs? So that kind of baffled me. So yeah, I played all different sports. My parents kept it fun, and I'm very competitive. So it was more, I didn't look at it as my medicine. I looked at it as if I'm going to be the best I can be at whatever sport I'm going to do.
And did you compete then at running?
Yeah. I would have ran like 14 minutes for 5k. 30 minutes for 10k. I ran in the schools international for Ireland. So yeah, it was more that I wanted to go to the Olympics, not to work at it, but I wanted to go to the Olympics and actually win the Olympics rather than just going to compete. That's how competitive I am in my own head.
And now you end up advising people and running.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So in 2012, I was looking at the London Olympics and said, I'm either going to compete at the next Olympics or I'm going to be working at the Olympics. But I'm not going to sit and look at the Olympics on the TV. I'll be there in some capacity.
Right.
So after that, I had a seizure in November of that year.
Okay.
And then 5 weeks later, I had another seizure. So pretty much most of the rest of that few months, I can't remember. I still can't remember. So myself and Mo Farah's coach, Alberto Salazar, we were going back and forth with emails, which I can't remember at all.
And did you don't even know if you just got in touch with him or he got in touch with you, or what way did it start?
I should actually look over
the emails.
Yeah. and read what sort of tripe I was sending.
Right.
But anyway, I
Make
went
sure you
over.
invoice the right amount of money. It's the most important thing.
So a few months later, I was over in Oregon in the Nike headquarters, and it kind of just snowballed from there. So yeah, that was 2012. So in 4 years, I've worked with over 100 Olympians, and 20 of which, or just over 20, have won Olympic medals.
Oh.
So, Evan, like you said there that you were going to compete. What was the highest level you competed at?
There was a race in between England, Scotland, Ireland, and Wales. Kind of like.
Man walks into a bar.
Yeah. So yeah, it was kind of at that level, but mostly just national.
Yeah.
But
For me,
that's still
I don't know a lot about running, but for me, for MMA, if you wanted to compete in MMA, you'd obviously join the local club, you'd train, and then after maybe 2 years you'd start competing, and then the sort of a path is the same with running. Is there like you join the local running club and then these guys go compete together? Is this the same sort of path?
You can run in races without joining the club. Like you have the running boom here in Ireland, where everybody just seems to want to go run. And most of them aren't in a running club. But the way I went down was I was in a running club, and then you're just thrown in the deep end. You're thrown in the next race that's coming up. And then I joined one of the biggest clubs in Ireland, in Dundrum, in Dublin. So I'd travel from Dunshaughlin to Dundrum 4 times a week to train there, but I'd also train at home. So it'd be 7 days a week. 7 days a week, but I could be training nearly 13 times in the week. Maybe more if you're doing strength and conditioning as well. So yeah, you kind of just join a club. If you want to do it competitively and at a national level or international, you join a club, go up through the ranks. Like there's no ranks. Like I could be racing someone who's in the Olympics. Even next week I could go to a race and run, and I'm racing someone who's in the Olympics. So that's kind of the beauty behind athletics. Like if you're a footballer, or if you're someone who just joined like a SGB or something like that, you couldn't go in and start fighting Conor McGregor or Aisling Daly or whatever. You're just going to be, you'll have to go up through the ranks, like you said, like in 2 years' time or whatever. But with athletics, you can just race whoever you want, and you can go train with them as well. Like I was in Kenya recently, and there was this person. He actually has a podcast. And anyway, I pulled him up on this because he was just doing crazy things. He took his top off and jumped into one of the speed sessions. Like the main focus during the week is one of these speed sessions. Took his top off, had a sweatband around his head that said Naked Runners, and started running next to the Olympic champion and trying to interview him as well while he was doing it. I was like, oh, what is this guy doing?
He was auditioning for TMZ.
Yeah, and like...
This is the new thing, yeah.
So that's the kind of beauty behind it, where you can just go and run against, train with Olympic champions and just hang on for as long as possible. Over there, actually, you go on a run, and if you can't keep up, you get thrown into the back of the van. So you just keep on going until you can't go anymore, and that's it, get back in the van. Try better next week.
What are you doing there?
Obviously, with these.
Sorry, say that again?
Go ahead, Colin.
Yeah, go ahead.
Obviously, with doing these 13 training sessions a week, I presume the diet had to change from Mars bars to oranges and obviously proper food, or is that the case?
I hate chocolate anyway, so I never ate Mars bars. and I would have had Swiss rolls actually. I would have
Swiss
eaten
rolls.
a whole Swiss roll in one sitting, like with one of the family size ones.
Pineapple or
But like,
chocolate?
huh?
Pineapple or chocolate?
Oh no, raspberry.
Raspberry.
Oh.
Yeah,
It
with
was
no,
healthy. It was red.
oh,
Raspberries are, yeah. It was
yeah,
healthy.
full of antioxidants. No cream either. I hate cream, so it was just a plain raspberry Swiss roll.
So
Um,
with the Kenyan team, what are you actually doing with them?
I'm not actually working exclusively with the Kenyan team, but when
Okay.
I'm in Kenya, I'll be working with the Kenyans. Um, so and the New Zealand team as well. So
Okay.
the New Zealand, there's two twins out there, Jake and Zane Robertson, and they actually have a really interesting story as well.
Right.
So I'll update you with that. They moved to Kenya when they were 16 without their parents and have lived there for 9 years.
I've
And
heard about
just
these
said,
guys.
yeah. So they just said, well, if we want to run against the Kenyans, we have to train and live like the Kenyans.
And
So
what makes them different? Do they have a different training model, or is it to do with the altitude? Or
Kenya,
yeah.
there's no one specific thing. Altitude helps. The environment that they live in helps. Their food helps. But it's like, let's say Brazil.
I presume their body structure has a lot to do with it as well, is it?
Yeah, there was a study done that it showed that the leaner and smaller your lower from your knee down, so your calves, the smaller they were, the better at long distance running you're going to be. So if you look at Kenyans, they just have no calves. It's just
Right.
really lean, no extra bulk at all. But like let's say England, they're good at cricket, rugby, soccer. If you look at Brazil, they're good at soccer. If you look at New Zealand, they're good at rugby. So it just so happens that Kenya are good at running because it's a cheap sport. All you need to have is a pair of runners,
Yeah.
and then you just go out, and everywhere you can go in Kenya is perfect for running.
Okay.
The trails are just amazing. You could just go out and run, and the altitude helps as well.
What about as you know, just athletic performance? I think it's pretty much standard across whatever sport you do. What do you find are the main things that people do wrong?
Obsess. In running especially, there's a mentality that if you just keep on going mileage, if you just keep on running long, it's going to get you somewhere, but it's not really. Like if you just run 150 miles a week, it's not going to make you a good runner. It's going to make you an endurance runner, but you're not going to be able to go fast. Also, another thing, this strength and conditioning and running, like people bench press for running, and I don't
Right.
know at what stage do you do a bench press during your running cycle. Like you don't push your arms unless you're going to celebrate like that.
Right.
Or like squatting. So at what stage of your running gait do you squat? And none. You're always on one foot when you're running. So why would you do strength work on 2 feet?
So you break it down to.
Evan, just let me
Go on, Steve.
just let me ask you this. When you were saying obsessed, so can you always get better at your running technique? So like, if I'm great today, can I be better tomorrow at my technique of running? And the reason I ask that is because for us in jiu-jitsu, if I hit a topside armbar and I repeat that every day I get better and better. So my motion gets smoother, my technique gets like it flows better, my knees are tighter. All this stuff sort of evolves day by day. Does that translate over to run where your technique can evolve every day?
There's the saying practice makes perfect. But what if you're practicing it wrong? You're never going to get it perfect. So if you go out and run and just run and run and run with bad form, you're going to break down and get injured. So it's showing people, like I could tell someone, okay, you have to lift your heel to your arse more, or stop letting your knee dip in when you land your foot. But you can't just tell them that, because the muscles are obviously too strong and too weak in certain places that it's making your knee go inwards or your arm carriage differently. So you need to build it up from specific strength work, individualized strength work, and building the muscles, and make the muscles, the opposing muscles, more flexible, so it's not pulling your arm in, or your leg, or your foot, or wherever the region is. Yeah.
How do you break down what's wrong with the person? Well, not what's wrong with the person, but what they're doing technically, as in the form they use in order to run, compared to other people.
So, as in running sport and then other sports?
No, say for instance, no, just people that are in the running business as such, or the running game. So, for instance, if I came to you and I'm a 5,000 meter runner. I heard you're good, so I want to go faster. Where do you start?
I would look at the way the person runs, and running at different speeds. So if you run, the majority of running is done at a slow pace. Okay. So and then you have to look at when the person fatigues as well. At what stage do they fatigue, and then how does their form change when they fatigue? So you have to look at when they're running, because you could look at a fighter and say, well, he looks strong, but is he going to be able to throw a punch? So you don't know until you actually get them to throw a punch, or else go out and get them to run. So the person I was with last year, he was the Olympic champion in London. The way he runs, people look at it and say, yeah, it's perfect, but it's not perfect.
Right.
He used to twist a lot, and he used to bob from side to side a lot. So you have to find out where exactly the muscles are that's making him go from left to right to left to right, and what muscles are tight, what muscles are loose, and how you can make that more efficient for him to be able to go faster. So you have to look at them in motion, basically.
And is that just by feel or by look, or do you like analyze it with slow motion cameras, or what way does it work?
I used to have to use a slow motion camera, but the more you do it, the more you look at people running, you can just spot straight away. Like I'll be driving down the road and I see a jogger on the side of the road, and I'll be like, okay, that's tight, that's loose, this is what needs to be done. Actually, I saw this fella running the other day with a limp, and I was going to pull over and ask him, does he want a consultation? Like, I was just like, it's just every time I see someone move, I have to look at what's wrong with them. And it doesn't even have to be running. I could just be walking down the road, and I'd be like, he overpronates. One hip is higher than the other. I'll be in town tomorrow, and I'll do that. I'll do it with everybody. Even the way they're sitting. So
it's frustrating when people don't, when they land on their heel first and not the ball. Is this the right way to run? The ball lands first, then the heel, or?
If the person is very heavy heel striker, you're going to waste too much time for them to be able to go into a 4-foot strike by using strength work. You're missing valuable time for if they could be faster heel striking than trying to transition into 4-foot striking. It doesn't look as good if someone heel strikes them, and it does leave the less time you're off the ground, like the less time you're on the ground, the faster you can go. That's why sprinters are on their toes all the time. So if you've contact with the ground more, it will mean that you're going to be a slower runner.
Is there rotation on the hip on a sprint?
Huh?
Is there rotation on the hip on a sprint at the start, or is it just all forward motion?
Well, they're going from a crouched fetal position to a drive phase into an upright position at around 60 meters. But let's say if you look at Usain Bolt, if you look at the way he starts his straight out the blocks, he always drags one foot. And the reason behind that is because he uses that as an anchor, because he's like, what, 6'5", 6'6". If he doesn't do that, he'll wobble from side to side or else fall over. So he always drags his trail foot straight off the blocks. And he doesn't. Not everybody does it, but he does it. And he has scoliosis as well, which is very interesting.
But is there like a, for that initial kickoff, is there rotation in the hip, or is it just straightforward? Like,
There probably shouldn't be a rotation in the hips, because it loses time because it's not efficient.
Okay. The other thing I want to ask you about was interval training, and where that plays a role, or does it play a role in distance running as well as, well, obviously in sprints, but in distance running, does it play a major role or a small role?
Yeah. So one thing that was interesting that Mo's coach Alberto said was, if you can do 100 meters in 12 seconds, it's easier for you to do 200 meters in 25 seconds. It's easier for you to then do 400 meters in 52 seconds. So if you're constantly just doing miles or even fast miles, your body doesn't know what it's like to be able to do 100 meters in 12 seconds. So you need to be able to run fast, because that's what's going to win you the race. So you have to then do interval training.
And specific days, do you say, for instance, we used to ride a bike, and we used to do I used to do my shortest day would be my fastest day, then the next day would be a longer interval, and then the third day would be steady state. Is there a principle for intervals?
Yeah. So let's say Kenya. The Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday is their hard days. So what they would do is, Monday is an easy run, Tuesday is an interval session where short intervals, Wednesday is an easy run or a recovery run, Thursday would then be a long tempo run, so you're doing a set amount of miles at whatever time, and then Friday is another rest run, easy run, and then Saturday is a medium distance interval session.
So
and then Sunday they have off as well.
So that would be like a 2-3 minute interval, or?
Yeah, the Tuesday one would be like a 30 second to 60 seconds type of interval. Thursdays like 5 mile, whatever distance you're doing, it could be 20 miles. And then Saturday could be like 3 minute or 5 minute intervals.
How do you reckon that kind of principle of running, do you think that can be put to any sport as a principle? So for instance, like MMA as a sport, it's a 5 minute round, so it's an interval with a sub-interval inside it. Yeah,
like it depends if it's a 3 round or a 5 round, but it's always 5 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, always 5 minutes.
Yeah, so you could do that, because you're expected to, if you're not going to knock them out like in 13 seconds, let's say, then you're expected to go for either 15 minutes with a break or 25 minutes with a break. So you should be aiming for being able to go nearly at max speed for 5 minutes, and then multiply that by 3 or 5.
And you reckon it's almost you need to go anaerobic at the start to recover and then go again within that 5 minutes?
No, because your body wouldn't be able to go from anaerobic and then unless you're ridiculously able to process lactic acid that quickly. But it'd be more aerobic, because aerobic means anything over 3 minutes.
Okay.
But yeah, you probably wouldn't be able to go full out and then recover in those 5 minutes.
So you've seen MMA and you've a bit of an interest in it, don't you? 'Cause you're always sending me your tips on who you think's going to win. But if someone came to you and said, "Look, I'm interested. I need someone to give me advice on what to do because I think it's still a growing sport. I think it needs to look around a little bit more as, and I think a lot of people are doing the wrong thing. Would you be interested in taking someone on board and giving them advice on it?"
Yeah, definitely. Like I look at things like you've probably seen videos everywhere of like running through a car park, pushing a sleigh with like weights on it. Yeah, so like it'll get you fit, but like it's not really going to be specific to like you're not going to try push someone out of the ring. Like it's not sumo wrestling.
Okay.
So yeah, it's kind of, for me, it's a waste of time because you're not really doing anything specific. You're just pushing something around the car park.
Right.
How would
So
you
yeah,
change it up though, Evan, compared to the Prowler?
yeah. So I look at things like
training altogether.
I probably wouldn't use it at all. Yeah. What I would do is, let's say if you're going to kick someone in the head. There's probably a technical term for that. But like you're on one leg and you're expected to have the maximum amount of power and flexibility to be able to stretch and kick them in the head and have power at the same time. So your power has to be used on the ground foot, the grounding leg, and being able to twist as well. So there's a rotational thing to get the power out of it. So I would look at doing things in a stretched state, but having it powerful. And using the movements that you're going to be using to either kick someone or punch someone or spin around and kick them or whatever you're going to do.
Yeah, any specifics on that one? So like on the kicking?
Is this a video or a video podcast? Because it's going to be hard for me to actually
move back all the furniture. Move back all the furniture.
Yeah, it's really hard to explain how to do a movement when it's kind of like outside the box. So like everybody knows what a squat looks like.
Yeah.
But not very little people know what a runner squat looks like or a runner deadlift.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a bit hard to explain. I might do a YouTube video on what I think MMA fighters should be doing.
Well, I think a good one would be start off with what they're doing wrong, which is a lot, I think. And I think a lot of sports tend to just do what everybody else does, and they don't actually question it. Like for instance, I used to train with rowers in the winter when I wasn't riding a bike, and they were all overtrained. They were all like training 3 times a day because everybody trains 3 times a day. You know.
Yeah. So in running, it's 100 miles a week.
Yeah.
Like a magical 100 miles a week. But why are you doing 100 miles a week?
Hmm. And like I figure you've only got 2 hard sessions in your week, if that.
Yeah.
And you don't have, 3 sessions a day or 2 sessions a day, or I'm the first guy in, the last guy out of the gym every day. Well, maybe you should be at home sleeping or eating some food to recover and go hard 2 or 3 times a week, and the rest of it do specific things that will make you more powerful or more efficient, I suppose.
Is this aimed at anybody?
Was that a tipple you were just handed, Evan?
Yeah, what'd you get?
Cup of tea.
I thought that was a little glass of Jameson you were just handed.
Oh, talking about tattoos, actually. Colin, I don't think I had it when I was out.
You got a tattoo, did you? Okay,
I got 2, yeah.
Go on.
Hold on, I have to put the tea away.
Jays, this is ironic. You can show us your tattoo, but you can't show us the spinning kick.
it's actually of a spinning kick, is it?
Yeah.
What is it?
A tea bag.
A tea bag. Paddy Hewlin one is gone mad now in the background.
No way.
Oh, fucking hell.
I'm actually in the new Barry's tea ad as well.
You're not.
Yeah.
Because you got a tattoo, is it?
Yeah, they paid for my tattoo. I
Yeah,
actually
sure.
profited off my tattoo.
No, they paid you to get a tattoo to do an ad.
No, well, it didn't go like that. I put it up on Facebook, and then an agency contacted me and wanted me to be in the Barry's tea ad. I was like, well, this is a bit bizarre. So
Fucking hell.
my skin is now a billboard. So,
Nice, nice. What's the second one you got?
So it's a bit hard to get to.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can show you it.
Oh, here.
So I might as well show you this spinning kick. So you can't really see it there.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's a purple and pink rose.
Nice.
And the reason behind that, I'll tell you about the tea bag tattoo as well. The reason behind the rose is that people who, like kids that can't say cystic fibrosis, say 65 roses, and it's a way of teaching them how to do it.
All right.
So there was a charity set up called 65 Roses.
Right.
So I decided to get a pink and purple rose because that's the colour of the kind of foundation. And then
Are you involved with the foundation now?
No.
You're not?
No.
All right. I thought you were going to be saying that.
I'll be getting troker tattoos next.
All right. Hey, can I get on my back?
The tea bag tattoo is, you know, in Ireland, like if something good happens, you put the kettle on. If something bad happens, you put the kettle on. So problems can be solved over a cup of tea. And if they're that big of a, if they're that much of a problem that they can be solved over a cup of tea, then it's not that big of a problem.
Oh, that's a good philosophy. I like it.
And I like tea as well.
Yeah.
You need to meet Paddy Hewlin.
There could be a sponsorship at the end of this. Yeah.
Well, I don't drink Barry's or Lyons, so.
What do you drink? Herbal tea?
No. Marks and Spencer's extra strong tea.
Come on, what the hell?
Get on it.
Are you a Protestant?
My girlfriend's English as well. We're actually going to the
Jesus
1916 tour tomorrow, so and it was her idea. I was like, oh Jesus, are you trying to rub it in?
Stephen, you were on that, weren't you?
Well, if you look at my Lebowski live video blog from yesterday, I was actually there yesterday. It's actually a pretty good tour. Pretty interesting, actually.
Which one did you go on?
It's I went to the one, the Ambassador.
Oh yeah, I was looking and.
So basically, what that has like Michael Collins' revolver, the car that was left by the by the British Army that the Irish captains took over and basically used that as their officer's car, as the big brass handle, the original handle of the GPO. But there's like a lot of old guys that do a lot of the reenactments that are really up to date on all the history and all the basically everything you need to know about 1916. They're dressed in their full uniform. They have their little badges. They have their Luger single shot guns that you could stick a butt onto, so it'd be a single shot rifle. They have all these there, and these guys just want to tell you everything they know about 1916. So if you get a chance for the Ambassador, go to the Ambassador one.
I was actually, do you know the Viking tour in Dublin?
Yeah.
You get in a boat. Well, it
He
was
was on the Vikings. Lebowski was on the Vikings. Weren't you, Lebowski?
It
Shoot the bow and arrow and all that.
There's a 1916 tour bus in Dublin, and they were selling it on Groupon for I don't know, 2 tickets for €30 instead of 24 for 1 ticket. But they've kind of screwed me over because I bought the ticket and it's after taken out of my bank account, but I have no voucher. So I was thinking of actually going to Kilmainham or the Collins Barracks, one or the other.
What would you recommend, Steve?
I've never actually been to Collins. Well, I've never been to Collins Barracks. Kilmainham jail's a fantastic day out as well. That's really cool as well.
Well, I grew up in Inchicore, so I could see Kilmainham from my bedroom, and I've been there about twice already, but I was about maybe 12 or 13 or something the last time.
You see my new boy?
He's only down the road here in Ballyfermot.
Have you got one? Have you got one of them yet?
No, I don't really like whiskey. Or
Stephen, have you got one? Yeah.
What did he say? What did he just say?
Yeah. So you got to try a single malt. I never liked whiskey until I tried a single malt whiskey. And I was working in a club called Odessa, and these guys had bought these single malt whiskies, little shots. They were 16-year-old pop, and they didn't drink them. And then the barman said, "Here, do you want one of them?" And I said, "I don't drink whiskey." He said, "No, you got to try a single malt." And I was like, "Okay," tried it. Different level altogether. Single malt, Irish whiskey, unreal.
I never actually drank until I went to Munich, and the barman just kept on going, "Oh, I think he was getting offended that I didn't like the drinks." I was just like, "This is crap." They all tasted like piss to me. I had five beers.
Yeah.
And I was just like, "Am I supposed to be feeling anything?" And they were like German beers, so like 6-7%.
Proper strong stuff. Nothing.
No, it's weird. So I woke up the next day and I was like, Jesus Christ, I'd love a pint now.
Really?
Yeah. So and then I spent.
That's the Irish coming out.
I know, yeah, the Irish gene. But I spent 3 months in Leuven, working in a place, Leuven in Belgium. So then I got a taste of that as well. So yeah.
Do you see yourself sticking with the running, or do you see yourself moving on to other sports? Or?
No, I'd love to do other sports. I suppose anybody who wants to be strong, like this is the Olympic quote, but stronger, faster, higher, stronger, faster, I think is what it is. So anybody, to get the best out of anybody, and that could just mean like someone who wants to, I don't know, function better throughout the day, at their office desk or something like that. It doesn't have to be sports, it could be anything. But I suppose I'd prefer something that I was passionate about, and that's how I start looking at like the fighting thing, because I actually get excited about fights now, where with racing and running you're kind of going like, okay, well, if it's a 12.5 lap race, someone's just going to sit in there for 11.5 laps and then kick the last lap or half a lap, and it just becomes boring, like it's become stagnant.
Right.
One of my friends, we were actually talking about how would we change up athletics, and things like simple things like whoever at the end of each lap, whoever's last gets kicked out of the race. So there's going to be a sprint every last 50 meters of every last lap.
They do that in cycling, right? Have you seen that?
Is it in the velodrome, in the indoor?
Yeah, they have a race on the track. It's the fat guy goes around on the motorcycle.
Yeah.
And the last guy, it's called Kieran, and the last guy around each lap gets thrown out. Yeah.
It's something like that. That'd be good.
Yeah.
I actually first seen that in the Olympics back a long time ago, and I was sort of blown away with the speed these dudes are flying on the track at.
Oh yeah, they go fast. They do like 60 miles an hour, those dudes.
Yeah, something like that would be good. Or like
when's the first time you seen MMA, or you were introduced to it?
I think it could have been about. I've always known about it, but I can first remember in 2013 where I was just kind of blown away by. There was a lot of things like the power. I don't really like the heavier classes because it's just a kind of slogging match. But the lighter classes where there's power and agility, and it was just so technical. There was different arts being brought into one, and it always kept me kind of on my feet, going, all right, if this fella is great at this art, like, I don't know, if one person's better at grappling and one person's better at boxing or whatever, it kind of got me interested that way. And I suppose maybe the whole Conor McGregor thing as well, where everybody in Ireland seems to be going around in the three-piece suit and a beard. And I think it's amazing because people are out of their GA tracksuits now. Or walking around with their West Point gym bag or something like that for going away for a weekend with their girlfriend or something like that. It's just like, at least fashion has changed for the better.
He's made a big influence on society, hasn't he?
Yeah, and if you love him or hate him, you want to hear what he has to say.
I was on a bus the other day and going into town, and the bus driver stopped in traffic to have a chat with the guy selling the newspapers about Conor McGregor.
Yeah,
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was actually
You know what?
last year.
Go on, Nev.
I spent 3 months in a place called Riverside in California, and I was in this sports bar or something like that, and they were like, "Oh my God, you're Irish!" And I got sick of that. After I started telling people I was from Nigeria because I didn't want to have a conversation about Ireland again. So I just stopped the conversation when I said I'm from Nigeria. But anyway, they were like, "Oh my God, do you know Conor McGregor?" And I was like, "No, I don't know him. I know of him." And they were like, "All right." And I was like, "Here, isn't Riverside where Ronda Rousey's from?" And they were like, "Who?" I was like, "Ronda Rousey." They were like, "Who's she?" I was like, "Right, she probably trains." She actually did train there as well. So
Really?
yeah, so Riverside, California. And they didn't know who she was, but they knew who Conor was.
That's better, isn't it?
Is she fighting again then, do you reckon, for the next show?
Against Tate.
Yeah.
You know the beauty about this? This is like female MMA rock paper scissors. One can
Right.
beat the other, but can't beat the other, and it goes
Yeah, I
for
think
the
so.
same. It's
Yeah.
I think it's a dangerous time for her to come back because Holly Holm. It's quite possible she can do the same thing again, and now Misha has this new, boost of confidence. And plus it's like the mystical Ronda, like how do you solve the puzzle,
Yeah.
Hasn't she
now
beaten
people see
Tate 3 times though?
Yeah. She won't beat Tate, I don't
Yeah.
think. But she won't beat Holly Holmes either. So, I think Holly Holmes will beat her. She beats Tate, and I think it's a bounce between
Well,
the
you
three
see,
of them.
do you know what the thing, Colin, is? Ronda trains with Edmund in that Glendale gym, and they
Yeah.
don't have like a camp, so I don't think there's 20 or 30 guys there. Like if you go down to SBG or you go to Team Rhino, there's 30 guys there. There's no superstar but one coach following the
Right.
fighter.
Yeah.
And that's a big factor. So if you're getting thrown into the Shark Tank every day, and you gotta, it's impossible for there to be an ego there as well. And I think that could be a big factor of her coming back as well. The ego doesn't want to get a little kink in it again, maybe. I don't know. I don't think I'm not too confident that her coming back, to be honest.
I saw some photographs of her. She was looking a bit heavy the other day. I don't know what
That's
they
what I
got
was just
through.
about to say, that she doesn't look that fit.
No.
Here, so I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If someone wins by submission, is it really a win?
Yeah. But
It
basically,
depends what it is. For me, it's like if you kind of like, and you can get caught in a submission where you don't really feel like that you got beaten. That's why people always want a rematch. But when someone just beats you everywhere to the stage where like, there was nothing I could do anywhere.
well,
I
here's
think
the thing,
that's
Colin.
different. Yeah.
Well, from my point of view, I never forget, it was an old Rogan video, and he said the beauty about jiu-jitsu or MMA where you can tap is in true one-arm combat. That tap basically means, look, brother, you're like inches away from whooping my ass to where I can't come back and defend myself. So the tap is just to say, look, okay, I'll get my ass whooped, let's call it a day.
But you can get caught as well, though, Stephen, and you make one little, especially at a high level. If you make one little mistake and it's done, Whereas if someone destroys you everywhere, then submits you, you think, okay, well, fair enough, there's nothing I can do with that. But if you get caught, you pop your head up, mistake, whatever, So.
When I looked at the
like, people can say Conor was caught.
I think he gassed and he got clipped, and I think there's a bunch of things going on there. But I don't. I think he was winning the fight. He could have gone the other way real quickly. It was very close.
People seeing that happen to Conor, but yeah, on the flip side of the coin, he also knocked out the reigning champion of 10 years in 13 seconds. So that's the beauty of MMA.
Yeah.
But that could be a lucky punch as well.
There you go. Or it could have been a lucky sub that Misha caught Hollywood. She slipped in the moment, basically. For that fraction of a second, she turned off autopilot and she looked out the window at the paint dry.
I think the Misha Tate one's a little bit different because I think Misha really, really wants it. And even coming to the 5th round where a lot of people be like accepting that people lost because she was down and then not accepting it, just going for it. I think Misha really, really wanted it. I think there's a little bit of a difference in the two fights, but I think I was delighted. I was actually happy for Misha. I was shocked for Conor, but then when I watched it back in the cold light of day, he was winning the fight. It could have gone the other way, but he just got caught. Gassed a little bit, got caught.
I think Diaz had the Homer Simpson approach.
Yes, there we go.
It makes it interesting though for what happens next.
That's Evan's expert opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. He might have more of a slur after that fight, but I mean, without it,
actually, it sounds like Chris out of Family Guy. Well, just YouTube Chris from Family Guy.
Martina's dad gives me stick for not watching Family Guy. Steve, you're losing out, brother. You need to be checking.
Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not. I wouldn't be a fan of it. The problem. I think I said this to you, Colin. I think for me watching the Conor fight was he fought a 145-pound fight at 170, and I'm saying that 3 of them solid shots would have put away any 145er. And at welterweight, maybe he would have had to walk him more before he was basically.
I do, but also I think
wearing him down.
The extra weight on him slowed him down. I mean, there's an optimum weight where you perform it for your frame. So if you add on an extra pounds, just because you've got more pounds doesn't mean you'll go better. You probably would have been better lighter.
I was talking to Colin about this after the fight, actually, with the power to weight ratio. And the way I was looking at it is that in 2 weeks he put, what was it, 2 stone that he put on? To be able to do that. So if you're trying to go up the weight and bulk up, you're not going to do as much cardio. And then if you have more muscle mass, there's more oxygen consumption going into each muscle. So like it looked like a train hit him, and then it looked like Diaz hit him, and it was just like he was stuffed.
Yeah, for me, Evan, you can probably relate to this as in when you walk with the guys in the running. But for me, another thing I was thinking about was like John Kavanagh. He's one of the best coaches in the world. He knows what every fighter is going through in this camp. So from 8 weeks out, there's a set routine and a set training, not training camp, but there's a set routine for the 8 weeks, so that on the 8th week, on this date, we're in our prime condition, on weight, ready to fight. And you're getting yourself battle ready. So over the weeks, your mental state is deteriorating, your physical state is sort of deteriorating, your technique is getting better, but you're drawing yourself of all your water, and it's not comfortable. And I don't think Conor's mental process went through that, and his physical state didn't go through that fight. He hadn't had them tough 8 weeks. He wanted to win and basically kill the guy in front of him. He had just basically ate well for the 8 weeks, and on the 8th week he had a heavy spar that he just ended up he got caught with a submission. That was my take on it. I think it was the body didn't go through the preparation or the transformation leading up to it, and it wasn't, say, fight ready on the night.
Yeah, I think that could be a part of it as well, because if you're just concentrating on like bulking up and eating steaks twice a day or whatever it was kind of like, I don't know, you get comfortable, you don't take it as seriously. Like, you just look like a happy, plump Conor going into the weigh-in. But then, like Diaz, I read something today, and it could be crap, but he was like 181 going into the cage, and Conor was like 165 going into the cage.
I read that as well. Yeah, I don't know if it's true or not, but I think like you say, Stevie, when you're not when things are hard, like you go out on a cold hike or something like that, you come back and you have a fire light, and it's the nicest thing in the world. But if you just had a normal day, it's just a fire, you know. So there's something about misery that makes the cake tastes nicer almost, you know. But I think if it had gone the other way, if you'd have finished Diaz, everything would have been perfect, you know. But the lesson wouldn't have been learned. So I think it's and also I think for as a fighter, it's probably the best loss you could get because there's no real loss in it. You know, he didn't lose the belt. He went up to 170. You know, it's only when Ali and all these guys lost is when they came back and people saw the greatness in them more so than the likes of Money Mayweather. No one liked him because he never lost, you know. And I think it's something human in us that you see someone coming back from adversity and getting up and showing up, putting the suit back on and going out for the press conference. I mean,
I agree. I think he won, although he lost that night, he won as well because for me, not that I don't respect him as a champion, but for me, I've more respect for him as a martial artist. As he said, look, it was a challenge. I was up a weight. I took the challenge and it didn't work out. I go back to the gym, I learn, I evolve, and I come back again. For me, I have more respect for him for that because now he's back, he's hungry again, he's training, and let's see what the next chapter holds for him. So,
on the cutting weight thing, Evan, what do you think of cutting weight with MMA? With the stuff that the guys do to themselves, you know, on a performance level.
I find it hard to understand why it goes through such a drastic change in leading up to a few days before the main event. Like if I was with an athlete and they were like let's say 10 pounds out of what their race shape is, I'd be like, well, why weren't you closer to your race shape coming up to the race? Why were you eating crap? Why were you eating cakes and stuff like that? So I don't know why fighters would just stay hovering around whatever their weight class is.
I think what summed it up for me was when Redza was over last year, he was saying to me, like, you know, he was fighting at 65 or 66, whatever the class is. And I was saying, well, when did you fight at 70? He says, because they're fucking huge. The size of the door, you know, and it's that they cut the weight and then they put it back on in a day, and then all of a sudden you're fighting this guy that's, you know, much bigger than you if you've only, you know, lost a couple of kilos or whatever. So I think that comes into it, but it's got to affect the athletic performance drastically. And until it levels out, whatever is going to happen in the sport, but I don't think it's a good idea.
Yeah, but then you look at, like, Conor sometimes looks like he has like full-blown AIDS at a weigh-in, and you're just like, how is this, like, especially with Aldo, I was like, how is this person going to actually fight? He looks like it's an effort to stand there and flex his biceps on the weighing scales.
Yeah.
But then he destroyed him in 13 seconds, so there's always things that just defy logic.
Yeah. I was at that Bama weigh-in a couple of weeks ago, and there was a chap there, and I looked at him. I didn't even recognise him, and he was green. He didn't look that bad on camera, but when I was sitting beside him, I haven't seen a live person that wasn't dying that didn't look worse than him. You know what I mean? He was just like, Christ, like, why? And then the next day you're gonna hydrate, and I was, because I'd never seen someone that bad. He was actually green. His eyes were sunken in the back of his head, and I was like, I just didn't see the point.
Did you ever do a weight cut for your fight, Colin?
Yeah, I did. It nearly killed me, and I advised my white guys not to do it. I cut from 73 to 65, and I felt great. I felt great. Like on the day, it felt fantastic. And it's only when I got in and the guy hit me, and I was missing. It was like someone hit me in the back of the head with a baseball bat, and I know the guy doesn't hit hard because I've been hit hard by. I know what hit hard is. I've kind of trained with everybody, and I trained with this guy before, and his boxing was sloppy, his kicks were poor. I was missing frames. He'd hit me, I'd miss him. I'd see the punch coming, then I'd miss it, and then he'd be over the other side, and then I'd feel like someone hit me in the back of the head with a baseball bat. He kicked me one leg kick, and I couldn't bend my leg for 3 months after. And what it was there wasn't enough rehydration after the weight cut. And you know, not enough fluid on the brain, not enough muscle or water in the muscle. So when I got hit, it did a lot of damage to the body. Probably because I was doing the weight cut myself, and at the time I went from 73 to 65 back to 73. I probably should have been 75. I should have been heavier with extra load, but because you're in it yourself, it's hard to see at the time. But I really wouldn't advise anyone to do it. Do it once and see what you feel like. But
I went on a weight cut when I was in Kenya.
yeah,
I went out at 61 and came back at 53 like 3 weeks later.
but that was just from
lack of centras and chicken fillet rolls.
Yeah, I actually about 2.5 weeks into it, I was like, "Is there no supermarket around here?" And they were like, "For what?" And I was like, "Swiss roll or cereal or something." And they were like, "Oh yeah, there is an hour away." And I was like, "Oh." So we went down to the.
I'm willing to make that journey.
Yeah, and we actually got an Indian as well. I got a huge curry, and went in and got like Cocoa Pops and Haribo and everything. It didn't make a difference, but it was my body just telling me, "Here, you need to cop the fuck on and get some weight onto you." I'm 56 now, and that's nearly 4 weeks later. I'm 56, and like I'm just eating everything on my side.
can't put it on.
No.
So, Evan, before we wrap up, obviously the Rio Olympics is happening this summer. Are you involved in it, or what's the plan?
Yeah. So I was looking, like, if I go with Kenyan athletes and spend all my time with Kenyan athletes, there's a chance that this year that they're not going to the Olympics because Kenya might be kicked out of the Olympics, as well as Russia, Ethiopia. I think Turkey is another one that they're like. I don't want to put all my eggs in the Kenyan basket. But
Is that to do with performance enhancing stuff? Is it?
yeah.
Right.
But they're like Kenya have come out now and said, well, or we might not be going because of the Zika virus. So it's probably like, yeah, well, I don't want to go anyway.
Right.
Like, so yeah, I think I'm going with the two twins or the one twin. Well, two twins, but the two athletes. So yeah, I'll probably be going with the New Zealanders, which suits me.
And any MMA fighters on the horizon or that you'd like to work with?
Oh yeah, everyone.
Lebowski. He's making a comeback. Lebowski's making a comeback.
I think he might rival my beard though.
No, the beard's cool.
This is a ginger beard. It's I've been coursed with my mum's ginger gene.
No, there's
a ginger coming into mine as well, so it's not too bad.
There's a gene in the beard. It doesn't matter about the hair on your head. It's a different type of hair in your beard. So most people have the gingerness for the beard.
All right. Where did you read that?
Is that bro science?
That's bro science right there.
That's bro science, I guarantee you.
2 out of 3.
He's just trying to make you feel better.
So, Evan, any website you want to plug for a handle, anything like that?
Yeah, I suppose my website is scullytherapyclinic.com. My Twitter is I don't know what my Twitter is actually. My Instagram is Evan_STC.
And you have a YouTube channel as well, don't you?
Oh yeah, I start kind of focusing on that. One of them actually, a few months ago, it's got like 38,000 views.
Right.
And then one I put up 3 weeks ago has something like 15,000 or something. It's a bit mad. But my Twitter is STC Injured. And Facebook Scully Therapy Clinic or Evan Scully, whatever you want to contact me on.
You link that, won't you, Lebowski?
I will indeedly. Well, for me, we got Battlezone coming up April 2nd, Trinity Sports Complex. I have 2 pro fights in the card, headed up by Kiefer Crosby versus Keith Butcher McHale.
You're fighting 2 fights on the night?
Johnny Jitsu is also making a comeback. Huh?
You're fighting 2 fights on the night?
No, I said it. We've 2 pro fights.
Alright.
Johnny Jitsu is making a comeback. Will Fleury is making his pro debut, so it's going to be two exciting pro fights of a heap of national amateur titles on the line, a couple of #1 contenders, and then we have the camp heading over to Shinobi and Lagos, May 2nd to May 8th.
Am I making a comeback on Battle Zone?
Oh, Colin might be coming over to Battle Zone. Well, I tell you what, Colin, if you're coming to Battle Zone, you may as well go and pick up Evan and bring him down to his first domestic MMA show.
Yeah, would you like to come to Battle Zone, Evan?
If I have a fighting name.
A fighting name?
Yeah. Like you said, Johnny Jiu-Jitsu or whatever his name
Johnny
is.
Jiu-Jitsu, you don't know who that is?
No.
Come on. Look, he's a legend.
The legend.
He's a bit mad. But
If I had a fighting name, what would it be?
He's Superman.
Evan the Skull Crusher Scully.
Oh, Jesus, right. I'll try live up to that expectation.
Man, you know what happens? Your fighting name shouldn't be given to you until your coach sees you fight a couple of times, then he can say, that's his name. Yeah,
Could you get him
I don't think you should make up a name and walk into the gym. Huh?
See, Lebowski does it as the matchmaker and the ring announcer and pretty much everything to Battle Zone. It's a really good fight night in that the boys organise. So we could get you in there with some of that, you know.
Yeah, well, what to do? It's on April 2nd. So what we do is, if you want to come along, pop me an email. We'll arrange drop over, have a look at it. Love to have you over.
Yeah, it'd be good, wouldn't it? I think I'm in town, so it looks like I'm going to be filming at it. So I'm going to do a little, one of my normal kind of, I do these little short films, Evan. And
You've been watching them on YouTube.
oh yeah, I'm doing a 30-day vlog at the moment. I don't know why I decided to do a 30-day vlog, but I'm actually doing one at the moment, so I've got to edit it tonight. So every day I do one for 30 days, just to put it out there, you know. So yeah, so that's the story. Have I got anything else? Yeah, these are Stephen trains with Team Rhino, and they're coming down 2nd of May for a week, and they're gonna train and drink and go fishing and go canoeing and all the regular stuff that these boys get up to. And that's all I've got going on. Am I making a comeback on Battle Zone? Is that a rumour?
At 70 kilo, I don't want you cutting no weight.
No weight cut, 70 kilos.
No.
No, Candy says I can't do any weight cuts.
No.
So 70 kilos, yeah. Put it out there. You can hold the camera.
Right, well, I think on that, we'll wrap it up. Evan, listen, it was a pleasure having you on. Great talking to you. Look forward to meeting you in person. Other than that, everybody stay beautiful. We are all one. Colin.
Yeah, listen, hashtag Rafter. But listen, Evan, thanks for coming on, being the first guest. I thought you'd be an interesting guest, and didn't disappoint. And it's there's a different way of looking at things, and when people start to realise that and not just do what everybody else does, you know, hitting tires with sledgehammers, and do sports.
Flipping tires.
Flipping tires. Do sport-specific stuff, and get someone with a different view on things to come in and look at it from a different angle and progress. You know, that's the main thing. So cool.
Well, hopefully I'll be doing something in the professional scene of MMA.
I think you should. I think you should. I think I need someone like you.
Update us, and we'll have you back on to talk about it.
Yeah, perfect.
Cool.
Till next week. Us.
Rafter. Thanks, Evan.
See you later.
Ciao. Ciao.